Aaron Pico, UFC newbie, versus Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy, everyone should know about him by now. He can do it all, really. World-class striker, grappler, wrestler. Got a real good coaching team. We've had Carl on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, who has got a different sort of approach, I think, to a lot of coaches. He comes from a football background, so he's very well drilled in his approach to coaching. He treats it like, I think he almost treats it like he's coaching against another team rather than he's coaching this guy to beat this guy. He breaks everything down. You've got your route A's, your route B's, your route C's, what your do's and don'ts. And I think that's why Lerone has had so much success, because what helps when you've got a world-class coaching team is that you've got a real good fighter that will follow the game plan. And you've only got to watch his last fight against Josh Emmett to see how good he is at that. He followed the game plan to a T, especially from when we spoke with Carl. I think they had it pretty much bang on. And what Lerone has got going for him as well is that everyone he's fought in his last 4 or 5 fights is world class. Dan Ige, Barboza, Josh Emmett. He's been in there with the best in that division. Now you flip the coin, Aaron Pico got all the accolades in the world. Under 17s world wrestling champion, golden glove boxer. He signed for Bellator and / PFL early when he was young in his pro career. He had a Nike shoe deal. He was sponsored by Gatorade, Nike. At all these, he was like the American hero. He was going to be the next American dream. Rushed him a little bit, I think, early doors. He picked up a couple of losses, but has moved to the Jackson Wink Academy and has really started to gel it together. Now, every punching power, elite level wrestling, can stop the fight anyway. But what he hasn't got that Lerone has got, and that is that experience against that world-class opposition. Is no knock on Bellator or the PFL, but, if you go and look at Pico's record, there's no one on there on the level of a Dan Ige, on the level of a Barboza, on the level of a Josh Emmett, like you've got with Lerone. Yes, he's got all the accolades, yes, he's got all the skills, but he hasn't had that world-class championship opposition yet. So that, for me, is the real separating factor. I watched Pico's last fight. He looked very good. He does a real good job of wrestling, but then Lerone does a real good job of getting up. Pico's a real powerful striker, but in terms of striking power, is there anyone in the division other than Tapore before he left? It's harder than Josh Emmett. And Lerone has just navigated that for 5 rounds without really taking any damage. So, it all comes down, for me, does Pico's attributes and skills translate to the UFC?